Omid Scobie has other details, and one doesn't know whether to take them at face value or be a bit skeptical, because he definitely comes from, he's got a partisan viewpoint.
What have we learned from this new book?
Well, I mean, there's an argument. We haven't learned an awful lot. There's an awful lot of detail about the dysfunctional relationship between Charles and Harry, between William and Harry, and we learn Omid Scobie's opinion of the king, and we learn what we think of Kate. They think of Kate, Harry and Meghan. I think she's rather cold, apparently, to those she doesn't like. But in a way, this is just Finding Freedom Part 2. It's yet another attack on. It's an attack on the royal family. They're all ghastly. They're all dysfunctional. They're all at war with each other. But the two who come out saintly are, of course, Harry and Meghan in their Montecito idyll. They've done no wrong, and they can't understand why the rest of the royal family can't move on. One of the most extraordinary passages of the book is this account of how in January, apparently, so we'd had the Netflix documentary, and then we'd had Harry's memoir Spare. Apparently Harry rang Charles and wanted to get an apology, wanted sort of some kind of recognition of what had happened, and apparently the conversation was cold and brief. I mean, can you blame him? Can you blame Charles in those circumstances at that time for being cold and brief? Of course he would. Anyone would be absolutely furious with Harry for the way he'd sort of washed the royal family's dirty linen in public, and perhaps wasn't in a terribly forgiving mood at the time.
Yeah, I haven't read the book myself, but from what I see, there's stuff in it about tension between King Charles and William, Prince of Wales. What did you make of that, Valentine?
I think there's always some tension between the monarch and the heir. It happened when the Queen Elizabeth was on the throne and Charles was the heir. Look, that has been a relationship that's had its ups and downs. It definitely had bumpy patches. I get the impression now that it's not too bad. I think the two households, Buckingham Palace for the King and Kensington Palace for Prince William, are operating, as seamless as you could hope. There are occasional problems. I mean, there was a glitch when, after trooping the colour, when the king might expect lots of lovely coverage on him on a horse and all that ceremony and pageantry, instead William had given an interview to the Sunday Times about homelessness, which rather knocked Charles off the front page. But that was a kind of relatively rare example, and that's the worst that can go on at the moment. I don't think it's too bad. Omid Scobie has other details, and one doesn't know whether to take them at face value or be a bit skeptical, because he definitely comes from, he's got a partisan viewpoint.